go up, but I think that Keen is very happy to play K'Sante into it and not be too bothered. Gen.G have shown already that they are really happy to rely on that. This would be, I think, making a lot of sense in the light of what we've seen thus far. Skarner looks insanely busted at the moment.
Yep.
But it does also mean that there's a chance that Nidalee might not go over towards Canyon, might be picked up by T1 instead. And I've been a known, you know, Nidalee
anti.
I wouldn't go that far.
I'd probably go.
I think the pick is insanely strong, but I also think that there's not a lot of players that can play it well. Unfortunately for T1, one of them is on the opposing end, and especially picks like Sejuani can really struggle in that 1v1. Will give Owner a lot of initiation and a lot of power in early skirmishes though, especially as I expect that we'll see at least some melee as well towards the top side of the map.
Yeah, is it going to be K'Sante locked in second just to get it early? As that's a Zoe hover. That would be an interesting one. Certainly one of... I remember FAKER being very outspoken, saying that he was the best Zoe in the LCK a few seasons ago. But we're just hovering through some fun things. There's a bit of archery to be done by Gumayusi. Definitely the champion that I probably associate him with the most.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Most likely going to be the lethality variety as well.
Yep, we're really surprised that Nidalee was locked in here by Canyon. Super surprised. And yeah, okay, wow. Well, you probably could have told us exactly what they were going to pick
I feel
in
like
order. Yeah,
I feel
after
like
the bans.
So far, we are very much on track for Gen.G just picking in order. Obviously, you can
so far, as there is the Renata, and like we were talking about, top lane are going to be locked in. Zeus doesn't need to go very far through his favorite champions list to find one that he really wants to lock away, and it's going to be the Twisted Fate into the Skarner this time.
So no melee towards the top half of the map, which is unfortunate for Owner. There is a lot of CC though, and I really like any form of point-and-click lockdown when you have a Taliyah. So in that way, it does make a lot of sense. I was actually wondering whether Zeus wanted to go back to the Aatrox. Obviously, he's had some incredible Aatrox performances, and we saw it come back. King and played it into the Skarner, made it look quite good, and it goes well.
Yep.
With Sejuani. As Pays, what is it gonna be? Pays obviously has some champions that he is most known for. Kaisa is open if you want to go in that direction. You can go towards the Xayah.
Oh, the Ezreal! Okay, are we a patch early for this one?
We definitely are, because Ezreal in the next patch is pretty hilarious in the amount of impact that he has. But still, my favorite pace game I've ever seen was him on Ezreal back in Challengers, summer 2022. And I gotta say, I really trust Pays to pilot Ezreal well, but I don't know how good you're going to be feeling playing into, I think particular TF really makes it so hard. Point and click CC is kind of his bane. Things like Sejuani, like Taliyah, I think you can kind of play around. But the stun lock that's available here for T1, again, particularly with the Taliyah, is going to be really hard to deal with. On the flip side for Gen.G, Canyon, if you look at his two side lanes, obviously top is good when it comes to the lockdown that you need with the Nidalee, but that Corki Nidalee combo is, I think, very similar to the Tristana and Corki. Like, it's good when it's winning, because you want to.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
Well, I would say that even though we are technically on the T1 side of LoL Park, I think they were a little louder.
We are adjusting, you know, for that. We've learned Atlas.
I calibrated, and I still was getting caught up, you know, many years afterwards.
Okay, a few things I want to highlight.
Please.
So we have Gumayusi going for PTA, which I do think it means that he might go for the on-hit variety, which he is playing into two tanks. So I think from that point of view, it does make sense. Does mean that the effective range of T1's comp kind of goes down by a little bit, which can be annoying because we talked about Corki Nidalee. There's also Ezreal, so the amount of poke that Gen.G are going to have is kind of insane. Canyon has also shifted away from his most used rune. Generally, he goes Conqueror on the Nidalee and gone for First Strike instead. So First Strike on this patch obviously still generates.
And no harm, no foul. However, Owner being able to trade evenly on that front is certainly good news as Lehens goes in, looks for Carrier as Pays and Gumayusi fighting, and Guma's going to say that that one is absolutely fine. The flash forward, almost, but there it is! For Carrier, Oh my goodness, Lahen's being able to pick it up with the ignite.
Effectively bursting. You most likely haven't played against this in a long amount of time.
And it was actually a bit of an oldie but a goodie, Ezreal Leona from back in the day, so they have to do a bit of recalibrating.
Big win here.
Yeah. T1 going to move on over and grab themselves a dragon. Canyon a little bit distracted by a raptor camp. You can see that there is scuttle vision. Not going to work out as Canyon is going to miss the spear because Arctic Assault does get Owner out of the area.
Italy, right, is not get outpaced too much, which the Owner has been able to, and just make sure she doesn't get every single objective. So big win for T1 to get that early dragon. On the flip side, we haven't talked about mid lane yet, and FAKER will be catching this wave, so it's not as dire as it looks right there, but it is also still not great, all things considered, as CHOVY has picked up early mercs, which against the top side of T1 is going to have a, frankly, unreasonable amount of value.
Not too bad at all. Not going to give him a whole lot.
His best life as Owner, paying a visit towards the top side.
Yeah, making his way in. Zeus is already ghosted as Keen was trying to get out of there. It doesn't quite work. Walks back, picks up a rock, but he's just dead. That is going to be the Glacial Prison. Owner going to place him right into it, and that is going to even out the kill score. Crazy. Anyway, Lahen's making his way in towards his bottom side, and there is a ward in this brush as well. There's the flash forward. Stuns go by as Solar Flare will connect. And Zeus absolutely nowhere to go after the flash. And that is a kill going over to Pays this time around. He would oftentimes already be top lane at this stage.
So Lahen's catching Zeus off guard there. I think the flash being invested as well is really, really rough. Lahen's again being an early instigator. And the craziest thing is he's not even X-flashing. He's just straight up flashing.
That is unheard of.
It's really hard because I think in theory you look at the T1 comp and if someone is out of position, like you can isolate them so easily. With TF, with Talia, your CC chain is amazing. But because of how the early game is played out, and I think realistically you should also have prio in a lot of these lanes, most notably mid, Gen.G is going to be set up. So T1, they need to try and get in here, but they're taking a lot of poke.
Yeah, there's the Weaver's Wall as Pays is on the other side of it. Carrier goes in, True Shot Barrage is decent, but Gen.G's health bars are going down so incredibly low already. Both of the tanks have been taken out. And Pays, the only one with a decent health bar. Canyon not going to quite be able to make it out there as CHOVY will finish him off. And Pays is flashing over the top of the seismic shove. And now it's Gumayusi and Owner that are on the run. Gen.G walk out victorious.
Try and push through, but yeah, as I was saying, the game where I got excited about Pays was when he played an Ezreal game. And, you know, there's 100% kill participation. So far, so good.
And the way that he played that last fight as well, aggressive Ezreal. That is what you want to see.
You have to.
So many times we see Ezreal play, professionally or not, where it is just a little bit too passive. You utilize your Arcane Shift to play defensively. Utilizing it well, I think, is using it to go forward.
You know he's
speaking
giggling.
of going, oh, never mind, going backwards.
You know he was cackling at
Yeah,
this.
good old Lahen's.
What we did see there, though, is how a good fight looks for T1, at least at the beginning.
Yeah.
Find target, hit the knock-up, hit the CC chain, and then go from there.
Well, Canyon looking for a bit of a pincer play as the Glacial Prison doesn't find the mark. Weaver's Wall comes down as CHOVY gonna get pushed back. A flash from Lahen's, but he's got nowhere to go. Solar Flare comes in, he stays alive. It's the Primal Surge that keeps him up. Still, he's out of this fight now. Carrier also very low. True Shot Barrage not really finding the key targets. Neither does the Seismic Shove, and T1, they cut their losses.
And again looked like the fight that T1 were looking for.
Right?
Lahen's is very far forward. Even though CHOVY doesn't get hit by the prison, they're still able to get on top of this Leona. But between Lahen's getting the early kill, Eclipse and Aftershock doesn't end up going down. And then Jungle Soraka comes in, keeps him alive. And then, again,
tried to get a monopoly on it afterwards, but now the Destiny comes in. CHOVY gonna just flash over the wall, and he is going to be fine. Canyon looks for an opportunity. Solar Flare comes in as Gumayusi has just dove on top of him. Not quite enough damage to take him down, though. True Shot Barrage is going to be great, and Gumayusi will be immediately punished. Shield of Daybreak, Carrier goes down as well, and Gen.G will fight back, and Pays is looking for more. They get the vision onto Zeus there, but he's not going to be discovered. That was a blind one from Canyon. Decent little attempt, but it doesn't quite work out, as Keen will be able to lock down FAKER here, who was on the wrong side of that turret. And from this point on, man, it's getting real difficult for T1.
Oh, T1!
Oh.
Again!
파괴되었습니다.
Think they have the angle, and I understand that they have the lockdown, they have the TF. And CHOVY gets out with a sliver of health, right? Flashes over to, well, actually, I think he was like, what, at half health at that point?
Yeah.
And flavors of, like,
Oh, yeah.
different eras of Blue Ezreal as well.
He has certainly abused items for a long time, and now it is Zeus' turn. Oh dear, Alcove Gaming not his favorite, as Keen was looking to cut him off in case there was a destiny to try and get home, but he wasn't going anywhere. Turns up, they realize that it's on the other side, as we do have Soul Point picked up for Gen.G. It is only an Ocean, but it's still going to be important. I mean, this is a poke time around as well, so not counting them out in the series, but this game is looking rough as Carrier is going to go for a bit of an engage here. Chains of Corruption going to connect as well, but the flash out from Canyon avoids the piercing arrow. We've got a lot of Glacial Prisons, but it's Faker that falls down, and CHOVY just stands his ground. Now, Zeus on the other side of the fight, he'll find Pays, who instantly cleanses. Now waiting for that Arcane Shift to get over the wall. Valkyrie is there for CHOVY as he closes in, and Canyon, he'll find the spear onto Carrier. Nowhere for him to go, and now they're underneath this inner turret, and I do not think they're safe. Keen able to tank forward, Gumayusi to be taken down. The executions one after the other, and Gen.G, I mean, it's only Owner left standing. They'll take this inner turret and maybe more.
Another Hail Mary by T1, but no one is listening to their prayers, Atlas. Again, someone just makes it out alive. Again, a lot of resources are invested for no payoff, and Gen.G is going to be bringing us very certainly to a one
It's
game.
been Yuumi originally, right? But his Nautilus and Leona in that roaming meta for these supports from very early on in these games. Lehens really did become sort of synonymous with these kind of picks. And he's looking really, really good on it this time around as well. Spear not going to quite find the mark there, but there is poke coming from absolutely everywhere. Zeus, oh my goodness! Canyon and CHOVY doing a whole lot of work. Doesn't find that rocket, but it doesn't matter. They'll find the inhibitor and the one in the mid lane as well, as Gen.G utilizing this Baron relatively effectively, moving up to a 3k Baron power play.
It's a pretty good one, Atlas.
They're not going to spend that money, I don't think, because I think maybe this could be the last ditch, as okay, Owner goes in, looks for that fight, but Carrier, he's going to be the one to suffer for it. In goes Lehens as well. True Shot Barrage finding some targets. Gumayusi going to be his first one, and now CHOVY just wants over the wall. He'll flash it in the end, as Faker on the fountain, not going to be able to get anything done, and Gen.G, they will be able to claim the first Nexus in this series over T1, and we'll see what they have for us in Game 2.
He is. So stop giving him
He kind of
the pick.
proved it in that matchup. As Tristana going to be the first pick here. Faker probably going to be the one playing that one. An understandable first pick, but I think that there are a lot of things. I mean, the Talia, even though Faker didn't find the victory on it in the last game, but Skarner and Italy could certainly come through. Skarner and Talia jungle could also come through.
Yeah, also wouldn't mind that one bit.
But the Nidalee is,
what?
Yeah, if it ain't broke, I've said this before.
But it was broke from T1.
In the good way.
Like,
yeah.
no, it was broken for Gen.G.
Uh-huh.
It broke T1, and they're still giving it over.
Yeah.
So the big thing here, so the Corki ban, I think makes sense after last game. The Rumble ban is interesting as well, because I wouldn't even mind if you on Rumble. That would be way better. Even if he ends up playing Talia jungle, I would prefer that over Sejuani again. That's the other pivot that I think we really need to see. But I mean,
there we go.
in. So most likely, this is the jungle Talia.
Okay.
Oh, boy. Okay. Well, really love was a big pick at MSI as well, and I think it will kind of hit the mark here, as we are going to again keep Pays' pick relatively hidden. Could just end up being the Ezreal again after last game's performance, and the fact he still has that Nidalee combo.
And Leona has been locked in, and that looked like a very powerful combination. What the answer is going to be will be the next thing on the menu here, as T1 look to lock in a bottom lane by the looks of things, given this Jhin hover does come on through. Something that Gumayusi has found success on in the past, as long as there's no kitty cat attached to it. We'll see where Carrier is going to go. Saving counterpick for Pays is a really interesting one, but he's once again going to head towards the Rel. He did have some brilliant engages, even though the fights didn't work. I don't think that we're necessarily blaming Carrier for it. And why not just Ezreal? I guess maybe they could just Ezreal.
Could just do it again. Not a whole lot of reason not to. Into Jhin. Jin obviously also a bit of a lane bully.
Or Ziggs.
I
think it should be
it wouldn't even, like, you know what, I'm thinking about it. Ziggs wouldn't even be bad, right? Because you can Lance can roam. You have the Yone for setup. You have Ziggs in Italy.
Yeah.
I think it's good. But
I mean, Valdez and Orcs live rent-free in my brain, so it's just always Ziggs.
It's
every angle
always
is a Ziggs angle.
But realistically, when you get half of the POG votes and you play that game, I think you're allowed to just lock it in again.
Yeah, I think so too. And we'll just have to see whether T1 can survive the early game a little bit longer, because we know that Ezreal, when he isn't as accelerated as FaZe was, can really feel like he doesn't do any damage. Kind of a similar one work from Gen.G, but T1 have changed things up. Let's jump onto the rift for game 2.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, Gen.G fans raising their voices just a little bit here for game number 2. However, T1 fans still deafening here at LoL Park. It is a full house, as you would understand. Our top 2 teams from last season, our MSI representatives, facing off once again. And T1 beating Gen.G, I believe it was last year. Summer, first round robin, was fantastic, getting the momentum moving towards the World Championships. That has been identified as a point, right? We've been doing a lot of retrospectives recently, with FAKER being inducted into the Hall of Legends and all of that stuff. I don't know how important it is necessarily, but it is no change to Corki at all, and I watched CHOVY play over the last couple of days.
Atlas.
Okay, we're looking for a dive here. No 2v2 kill, but there's the Zenith played in. Immediate cleanse flash from Gumayusi as they're trying to get that kill first. It is going to be first blood going over to Carrier, but it's a 1-for-1 immediately. Still, I mean, with the fact that Gumayusi goes down, still a benefit for Gen.G, but they traded one back, and that is so important. Things out. Canyon looking for these first grubs. And Ona not wanting to give those up, although will be distracted by some shellfish first up. And Canyon not wanting to give that one away. He's trying to be able to steal it with a smite. And Ona gonna have to get out of there as Rocket Jump comes in. Ultimate misses there from CHOVY. He's taking a lot of damage as there it is. The Impale, but the flash out from FAKER just too good. As FaZe possibly going to get stunned up as Lehens is right under the turret. I don't know about that one, but Gumayusi goes down. And FaZe is able to pick up that kill. Can he get the other one onto Carrier as well? And it looks like the answer's going to be no. As Carrier had a turret there. It looked like Gen.G didn't even really know that there was a turret there, but it was 1-for-1 underneath it anyway.
I don't know if they're unleashed, unhinged, or both, but Gen.G bot lane is not messing around, Atlas.
Important part, right? Because I think there's a large reason why we were talking about this bottom lane of Gen.G as being the weak point. And it was because, and it was because they didn't have that synergy built up, and it didn't look like they were on the same page in a lot of instances. I think if there's ever an example of that synergy being repaired, is the fact that FaZe is ready to go in on one of Lehens' crazy journeys. And it's beautiful to see, as Canyon's just going to get engaged on here. Carrier pulls the trigger in a moment, and Canyon misses the flash. Gen.G just going to get punished out of nowhere here.
Big win there for T1.
This time around, T1 have been able to punish Canyon as Carrier in once again. There's the Magnet Storm. They don't quite find FaZe, but Lehens standing his ground, and Carrier just going to get punished. FaZe finding the last auto, and Ona just not here in time. FaZe still fighting more as there's the cleanse to get out of the way of the seismic. Speaking of seismic shove, it is FaZe that now needs to have the curtains blocked, and Ona down so incredibly low. Canyon gonna punish him. Gumayusi just needs one. Give the man one, but he's not going to be spared it as Canyon looks for the spear. Good dodge from Gumayusi, but he wanted kills. Oh my god. Okay, FaZe, leave him alone. So therefore it's a bit more susceptible, as this should be 6 grubs going over to Gen.G this time around. Denying grubs from a Tristana composition, definitely feeling pretty good here, as now FaZe has quite a few friends in the area. See, playing with a fair bit of gusto as well, but it looks like Ona just biding his time, waiting for an opportunity, wanting to see whether Gen.G do show anything here. As CHOVY going forward onto FAKER, finds himself a knocker.
Needs to make sure he doesn't get taken down. And Carrier setting up a trap.
Yeah. This back is going to come out just and make sure that he stops him right at the very end. Very nicely done. So Canyon going to return the favor of the dragon by picking up this Herald. Cloud Soul. Oh, baby. What a weekend for Cloud Souls it has been. Fellow Cloud Soul enthusiasts around the world overjoyed with the amount that we've had.
Singing in the streets.
Oh, 100%. And it's been a very cloudless weekend as well. It's been beautiful weather here.
Oh, it's amazing.
So making up for it with some extra Cloud Souls. You love to see it.
Great weather to stay inside and watch video games.
Save him there a little bit.
He's a master of visual storytelling.
He really is.
Oh, it's bot lane Herald instead. T1 does have a response, but I don't know if they're enough members.
Yeah, Flash comes out just to avoid the ultimate from CHOVY here. A seismic shove just barely not able to land onto Lehens there. So the turret will go down. As, okay, Gumayusi looking for the angle. Canyon's in trouble, and there it is. It's Carrier that locks it down in the end. Seismic shove opted into by Lehens, and the last bullet will rain true. Gumayusi going to grab that kill. It's his second of the game. 100% kill contribution from the man who was targeted by Gen.G so much early.
Really nicely done there by T1. This time around, they are in fact ready. Enough members there.
Oh, seismic shove avoided by Pace. Not able to take this turret just yet as Keen, with some free time, throwing rocks around in the top lane. Look at him go. He misses his kind, Chronicler.
I think that lore was retconned now.
Carrier going to stop Lehens from being able to go back home, but I think this support combat not going to be that great for Carrier, as there's the ulti. Fate Seal gets a flash out of Owner as CHOVY back out of there again, but Carrier doesn't have that option as Pace locks it up with a Mystic shot. Gen.G straight out of the gate once again.
Because if he also ends up going down, might be able to get even more, because the mid lane turret's still standing here for T1. They want to hold on to that.
Yeah, Gen.G need to probably say goodbye to theirs pretty quickly, but they will not push the issue this time around. See both of them going back home now. Teleport coming in immediately. Keen does have his Merc Treads now completed as well. Picks up some rocks from the bottom of the river. Let's see whether he can throw them at T1 effectively. Finds Zeus with one of them. He's been doing that all game. Really got his eye in as, okay, now the Weaver's Wall will be able to guarantee this outer turret. Pays not too phased by it. Keen also, I mean, walls don't exist for Skarner. Okay, well, Carrier is flashing out, but there's the ulti from CHOVY. He gets bounced around, but it's just enough damage that's being done. And Owner is just torn away from the map. And now without the jungler, Gen.G right around this Baron. They're not going to go for it just yet. It's a bit dangerous here.
Oh, CHOVY is TP as well.
Yeah, there they go. Of course, they're going to start this one up. It is spotted by T1, but what can they do about it? That is the question. Teleport coming in, Gen.G committing to this one. Kraken Slayer done for CHOVY as he makes his way back into the fight. Keen, incredibly tanky. Curtain Call has been utilized. Lehens not going to be able to tank too many of these. Finally, he does go down, and there is a huge impale from Keen. Pay's now able to free hit once again. He'll pick up a double as the Arcane shifts, flashes, and gets himself forward. It's one last one, thanks to that beautiful red buff that was given to him so kindly by Canyon. He's going to take yet another kill, and now Gen.G are going to press even further forward. Owner, he just got out of the death chamber, and they're looking to put it back. There's the Mystic Shot snipe. Beautifully played by Payson. Can we cancel the buffs? We need to cancel the buffs right now.
It's too late. Atlas, they're already in the air.
Get Mr. Turley on the line.
They're on their way. Get the hotfix out.
Oh, God.
As, Gen.G, that's the best case scenario. Not only do you get the kill onto Owner, not only do you then get the Baron, but T1, and I think rightly so.
But it was well played by Keen at the same time, and Gen.G holding on to control of that Baron pit beautifully. They'll now put it to work, taking down this inner turret towards the top side. Seismic Shove avoided here by Lehens as he finds the Solar Flare, or at least the slow, onto Owner and Faker. Fair bit of damage going down. Shattering Strike coming in. Carrier trying to get them away from this, but this is just not going to stand in front of Gen.G. There is at least a tower falling down on the bottom side. Seismic Shove is going to connect onto Keen, but he just doesn't even notice. He doesn't care. Maybe that he thought it was gap close that he could utilize as the fate is sealed for Gumayusi. The spear going to execute him. Keen crashes into a Nexus turret. And it should just be the 2-0 right here, right now for Gen.G as they do not stop pushing forward. A 10,000 gold lead, and our MSI champions are looking to continue that streak into the LCK with a 2-0 start to the season. If this will ever die.
No MSI hangover for this team. Lehens is cackling.
He had a brilliant series. This guy right here, though.